and possibly other chakras as well. All right, so moving on to the heart chakra. Heart chakra. Now we're getting into higher intelligence. Once we get to the heart and up, we talking about higher awareness. We talking about higher intelligence. This transcends Earth. Okay, so now we're talking about stuff that can get you into that having that spiritual juice that I'm talking about. So now this is when you get in tune with your inner genius. So a lot of the time when you come across somebody who's exceptionally intelligent, it's because that person has access to their higher chakras. Okay, so let's go ahead and get right into the heart chakra. If you are not spinning properly within your heart chakra, you're probably going to have a hard time detaching from stuff. You're not going to have the ability, or we all have the ability, but you're not going to be very good at detaching, whether it be from people, places, or things. You're going to have the habit of wanting to do the same stuff constantly. So if you have a hard time letting people go, even once you know that they no longer serve you, for example, if you're the type of person to get in a relationship and then keep going back and forth, y'all break up and y'all get back together, then y'all break up, get back together, that's some heart chakra stuff. And you have to be willing to go without all of this worldly stuff, whether it be someone or something. Now, obviously, someone can transcend the world and the connection you have with them. But when you know what's really up, and you know that their time is up or your time is up, or at least for now, you have to be willing to take a break. You got to be willing to cut people off and things off. So if you don't know how to acknowledge when it's time to move on, you're probably lost in your heart chakra. Okay? If you have a hard time with looking in the mirror and just accepting who you see and loving on who you see, that self-love, that comes from the heart chakra. If you give more than you if you give to others more than you even give to yourself, like I know a lot of people who have a hard time telling others no. And if you are always trying to make sure everybody else is good and you make yourself uncomfortable even in order to satisfy the needs or the wants that others have that they want from you, then know that you're lost in your heart chakra and it's not functioning properly. I say being lost in it, it's not really a matter of being lost in it though. It's more like you're not in it. You're not in it. Your consciousness is not in it properly. That's why it's not spinning the way that it should. But I'm sure y'all get my point. So, anyways, if your heart chakra is not functioning properly, you might harm yourself. So you might do something like I don't know. You might eat too much, but obviously that'll tune in with the solar plexus and the heart chakra. Mind you, sometimes these things overlap each other. That's because they're right next to each other. So things that heal or give this problems might also give this problems and what have you. So keep that in mind. But with the heart chakra specifically, when you're like a person who has low self-esteem comes from the heart chakra. It's all about love and self-love and loving others and accepting the things that you can't control. So if you have a hard time accepting what you can't control, then this is a heart chakra thing. Because I see some people, they'll get stressed out about what somebody else is doing with their life. This was a weakness that I had when I was younger. I used to, like, for example, if I'm really fond of somebody and they're not loving on themselves enough, say they have like a bad habit, like they drink too much alcohol, right? Obviously, they're lost in a couple of their chakras if they're drinking too much. But it would hurt me. It would break my heart. It would hurt my feelings. And I would get stressed out and frustrated. And it would ruin my day because somebody else isn't taking good enough care of themselves. So that was something I had to learn, is just to accept people the way that they are. And if they're given unacceptable behaviors, you just have to detach and just leave, just go away. But you can't let that stuff throw you off of your game. So that's the heart chakra thing. That was one of the most challenging ones for me to heal. The heart chakra, man, because the ones of higher intelligence, it's like it in a way gets harder and harder to unlock these chakras as you go up. That's why there's fewer people who have mastered the heart chakra and gotten access to the throat and the third eye chakra and the crown chakra. It gets more challenging, but trust me, it's doable. So moving on to what are we on? The throat chakra? All right, cool. So the throat chakra, I mean, obviously, to heal the heart chakra, you're supposed to acknowledge what's wrong with you and accept the things and all that stuff. So keep going. Throat chakra. We're on the throat chakra. You can know that your throat chakra isn't working properly if you don't know how to articulate how you feel. If your vocabulary isn't articulate enough for you to be able to say, hey, this is what I'm willing to accept, and this is what I'm not willing to accept. If you might even know the words, but if you don't have the courage, this has to do with your heart and your throat. Like I was saying, sometimes they tune in to one another. So if you don't have the courage, if you could know the words, but if you don't have the courage to be like, nah, bro, I'm not putting up with that. If people say like run you over sometimes, people get over on you, people take advantage of you, it's probably because your throat chakra ain't working right. So you're gonna have to make sure that you get that junk working properly, especially if you want to actually have a big impact on the world. Because people listen to somebody who sounds like they know what they're talking about. You could literally not even know what you're talking about, but if you say it confidently, you can probably convince like 20% more people just because of the fact that you said it with some kind of conviction. But obviously, you don't even want to be talking if you don't know what the hell you talk about. But so the throat chakra is also something that might be the reason why you have breathing problems. So you might have asthma, right? If you have asthma, that means you have a hard time getting air sometimes. So if you don't know how to breathe properly, obviously you're going to have to practice this. So this is how you heal your throat chakra. You do breathing exercises when you meditate. Obviously everybody needs to be breathing every day, all the time. And I'm not just saying breathing in general, because of course you're going to be breathing, but consciously breathing, taking deep breaths, breathing deeply from down within your diaphragm and bringing it all the way up, and paying closer attention to your breath. Because there's people who breathe their whole lives and they never even acknowledge the air going in and the transition that happens, and they can't feel the wind spinning within their lungs and stuff like that. People don't pay that any attention. So when you want your throat chakra to work properly, you're going to have to breathe, because of course any kind of words, any kind of expression starts with the inhale anyway, any kind of life whatsoever. So it's the feminine energy first, and then you push out. So it's I said, obviously you can't talk unless you breathe in first. Feminine energy is the creativity and the idea of whatever you want to create, and then the masculine energy is when you say it, when you push it out. Okay, so that's how you create, and this is how you make sure that everything's gonna go the way that it's supposed to go without you being uncomfortable in your life. If you're experiencing situations, especially if it's multiple situations where you're uncomfortable, know that it's because at least one of these chakras is not working properly. And I bet you it's more than one. If it's one, it's probably more than one. That's just how it goes. So I mean, because the truth is, like, if you have the intelligence, you got all these other chakras working properly up to your crown, and your crown's the only one that you have to like work on, you're gonna work on it. And if you got your third eye working, you're gonna be so aware of yourself that getting your crown chakra activated, that ain't gonna be no problem. So keep that in mind. But like I said, I'm talking about the throat chakra right now. So you have to be able to say how you feel. Say how you feel. Express yourself. If you don't know how to express yourself in a creative way, that has to do with the higher three chakras. Creativity or creation, and well, the godlike abilities that I'm talking about, a god creates. So when you activate in God mode, know that this is with these higher chakras, but you can't access the higher chakras without first being attuned to the lower ones. All of these work together. It's like a ladder. You can't get to the top of the ladder unless you take the steps from the lower ones. You can't jump. That's why a lot of people are messed up, because they're saying stuff like, mind you, I'm moving forward now to the third eye chakra. So now we're in the third eye chakra. Some people be saying like, how do I activate my third eye? How do I open my third eye? I'm like, bruh, you tripping. You trying to work on your third eye and get that one to open, but you didn't even realize that you still got childhood traumas you haven't acknowledged. So your sacral chakra is messed up. Your solar plexus is messed up. You shouldn't even be focusing on your third eye right now. But because people hear about so much, the third eye chakra is arguably like the most famous one. It's the most famed one, so everybody's so interested in that one because they know once you get to the third eye, you start seeing some stuff. You start seeing stuff, you start experiencing things, you start realizing all the synchronicities, you realize how significant of a being you are. You recognize that we're literally just living in a computer, and you see stuff so clearly. It's easy to recognize a fake person when you see one. It's easy to recognize somebody that's real deal conscious